Good day and welcome back to another Dbz Dokkan Metal video. In this video we are going to be taking a look basically at how INT Bulma performs in the Cell Max or Super Activation Cell Max event at 100% in the Hidden Potential system after her Easy A. So just kind of a couple things. Obviously the usual disclaimer, the Cell Max event is an event that is best taken on with units with really high levels of evasion, really high levels of damage reduction, guard, or sometimes a combination of all three or at least two of these mechanics. Secondly, the Cell Max event is an incredibly interestingly designed event. The first two phases are relatively quick, and the last phase is quite intense and a large step up in difficulty, which means that generally speaking, just stacking or trying to stack your way through it doesn't always work. You can't just spend 20 turns stacking as it's just not really kind of there the way it's designed. So that's obviously one way to look around it. Secondly, if a unit dies to a super attack from Cell Max or even dies from normals to Cell Max, it doesn't necessarily mean that the unit is bad. It's really not like entirely the only basis to evaluate a unit. You can 100% have a unit be good but flop in the Cell Max event. That's not the only measuring or cup or barometer that we have to use, basically. So let's talk a little bit about Bulma. Bulma obviously got her recent Extreme Z Awakening. She is an April Fool's unit, so she got her Dokkan Awakening and her Easy A at around the same time. In terms of her overall performance and how she looks, I think she's a very strong unit. Obviously, she's quite limited in terms of category. I think this goes without saying. She is quite a limited unit in terms of her categories, but I think overall her performance on those teams is pretty good. She's also quite heavily tied to having a Goku Youth on the team and also on the rotation, and we'll talk about that when we just quickly gloss over her passive. But basically her passive, the way it works is she has attack and defense of additional 40% and an additional 29% evasion chance for 4 turns from the start of turn when there's an ally whose name includes Goku Youth. So that's obviously something that's pretty important, but it doesn't really affect her performance in the tech portion of this event. It just kind of helps her in the beginning. Overall, her defense is good enough for the physical side of things. She has attack and defense of 141% with a high chance of evading the enemy's attacks. She also gets an additional attack of 41% within the same turn with each attack evaded, and an additional attack and defense of 81% and 9 ki when there's an ally whose name includes Goku Youth. I don't know what the point in giving a unit 9 ki is when there's very little chance someone's running this unit under no ki leads or something like that. But hey, they just felt like giving her 9 ki. So yeah, then in terms of obviously her actual abilities, so what you kind of want is you want her to obviously, she can stack attack and defense for 4 turns. So you kind of want to have her at least get off a couple super attacks so that she can obviously have at least one stack of that attack and defense sitting at any given point in time. So obviously you kind of do want her to have that. Because she stacks for 4 turns, she can hold that stack as a floater, but ideally you kind of want to be carrying 2 stacking instances of that attack and defense as much as possible. So yeah, I think overall Bulma's good. I do think she's obviously designed, at least from my perspective, to be a floater more so than to be a focal point of the team, but she does a very, very good job. She also innately has type advantage over the tech phase of Cell Max, and this is obviously something that I don't want to say, obviously it is a big advantage. It's quite a considerable advantage. Her defense is still very good, even without the type advantage. After getting a couple defensive stacks, she could potentially take normals, but the thing is being in type helps a lot. Of course it helps a lot. So yeah, I think she looks really solid. Right off the bat, we're looking at a very solid kind of performance from Bulma. She is just a solid unit, so there's not anything too rocket science about this process. Most people, I don't think, will be shocked that she does well, but it is obviously interesting to note. The big thing about her is her teams. So as I'm sure you are aware, she is on very few categories: Pepe Gals, Dragon Ball Seekers, Youth, DB Saga, Earthlings, Earthbred Fighters. We're not on like a huge paradigm of teams. We're not on like a massive list of teams. We're not cooking left, right, and center on 18,000 different teams. We are struggling for categories. Now, how much that matters is not that important, if that makes any sense. So her performance in terms of like teams is not that important, because Goku Youth is such an imperative part to her passive. So the difference between a Bulma that has a Goku Youth in the rotation and a Bulma that doesn't is so substantial that you don't really want to run her without that, at least not in the high level content. So for me, generally speaking, Dragon Ball Seekers, Youth, DB Saga, and Earthbred Fighters are the only real teams you're gonna probably want to run her on, because of the fact that this allows you to fulfill that requirement to have a Goku Youth. But yeah, obviously we've got her on rotation against Tech Cell Max. We will be getting a pretty good look at how she does here. Pretty decent, obviously getting some evasion. Here's the thing, she's gonna get hit by a super attack. Like, evasion characters, if they don't evade, are not really designed to survive against super attacks. Like, you need to understand that if she gets caught out by a super attack, of course she's going to die. That's just kind of by design. But what we want to see is we just want to see how much damage she takes from a normal. So if she does get clipped by a normal, are we taking like 300k? So we're taking 100k before. She is only currently rocking 1 defensive stack, so this is okay. And it's important to note how much she takes afterwards. So 100k, 74k, this is fine. I think overall she's a good option. I think the big thing is it just depends on how strong the rest of her team is. Now with physical Goku Youth, you could have a very strong team, but I think for me, she does very well. So yeah, that's going to be it for me. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you did, I would love it if you left a like. That would be much appreciated. Or you can leave a comment and let me know what you didn't like, or what you do like, or anything else. But that's it for me. See you next time. Bye.